Hey everybody, this is Chuck Marone. We're going to talk a little bit today about housing finance. Hang with me because this won't be boring, I promise. If we look back at the last election, we had two candidates who were offering different visions for how to make housing more affordable. Both of them acquiesced to the housing trap. The idea that we want to get more people into housing, but at the same time, housing cannot come down in price. Keeping prices high is a requirement of our financial system. We have made housing and housing-related financial products kind of the center core of our financial system. The idea is if we did that, we get lots of liquidity. That is very true. We've got lots of liquidity. Lots of liquidity has driven up prices and made housing perform more like a stock than an actual shelter, right? Something that you live in. Both candidates expressed, to the extent that they expressed plans, one candidate expressed clearer plans than the other, but to express that they had inclinations or plans they put on the table, both of them were about how do we make it easier for people to pay more for housing than they otherwise would. One plan, the plan that lost, was in a sense subsidizing people to get into homes. So how do we give first-time homebuyer credits? How do we give people who can't afford a down payment assistance? How do we lower down payments? How do we make it easier for people to get into homes? I got to tell you, this has been the plan since the Great Depression, right? I mean, this is like, we've done this over and over and over and over again. First it was, okay, we have 50% down payment. How about 40? How about 30? How about 20? How about 10? How about 5? How about 0? How about we give you money to make a down payment? To me, this is silly, right? We are, in a sense, giving people money to pay more for a house than they otherwise could. And yes, that will help some people who get that assistance, but broadly, it's going to continue to make housing more and more expensive, right? It's not going to broadly lower housing prices in any way. The side that won, or the plan that won, is kind of in the same vein, but just with a little different emphasis. The idea is, how do we get it so that people can borrow more money to pay more for a house? These are things like lowering interest rates. These are things like extending payments over a longer period of time instead of a 7-8 year mortgage. How about a 12-year mortgage? How about a 15-year mortgage? How about a 20-year mortgage? How about a 30-year mortgage? Now, this side of the equation is talking about, can we have 40-year mortgages? Can we have 50-year mortgages? That kind of thing. You spread out the payments over a longer period of time, making it quote unquote more affordable. What you're doing is you're making the monthly payment more affordable while keeping the price of the house high. Here's why this is interesting. There have been a series of articles, particularly one in, I want to say the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, one of them. There have been a series of articles that have talked about taking Fannie and Freddie out of conservatorship. The idea that these two agencies, or these two organizations, they're technically companies, that have the implied federal backing that were taken over by the federal government during 2008, during the great financial crisis. The idea is, let's spin these back off and make them private again. If they're private, they can write more loans. They can write what I'm just going to call riskier loans, right? They can be a little bit more out there in terms of what they do, all with implied government backing, right? Implied support. There's a lot of people who are cheering this, like, yay, anything that would make housing more affordable. Again, I'm going to say, I think this will allow us to write more loans, and perhaps, I'm not going to totally exclude the possibility that this could happen. Perhaps it will allow net more people to get into a home than they otherwise would, but it's not going to bring prices down. It's not going to make housing broadly more affordable. It's not going to make life better for Americans. It's just going to let a few people access to borrow more money than they otherwise would be able to afford. The supply and demand feedback loop here is broken, right? And all the people who are sitting yelling like, we just need to increase supply, increase supply, increase supply. I'm with you. We need to increase supply dramatically, but we need to fix this feedback loop with finance, because the financial system that we rely on to finance all this housing is stuck, and it is price sensitive. And when prices start to slow down, their acceleration upward. When prices start to, let alone go backward, what do? We pull back lending until prices recover. This is not a feedback loop that is going to allow us to solve this problem. Privatizing Fannie, Freddie, I mean, let's be clear. The reason Fannie and Freddie exist is because the 30-year mortgage is a ridiculous investment. It's an investment that is guaranteed to at some point blow up. That's why the federal government has to back it. Privatizing it, making it into a conservatorship, or taking it out of conservatorship and putting it out in the marketplace, I get it. Like, to me, the government should not be in this business. But let's be clear what we're doing. We're just giving them a license to gamble with public backing. And by taking them out of conservatorship, I mean, they're doing crazy things now. Just wait. We're just begging them to be reckless and irresponsible on the public dime.